Hi, welcome to Family History with Silver G. Well, if you were ever wondering, where do I come from? Who am I? Why do I do the things that I do? It's because you have ancestors, uh, people who lived many years throughout different generations, who through their experiences, they developed different habits and different mannerisms that eventually led up to you. And the neat thing about family history is that it simply starts by asking a question. Who are my grandparents? Who are their parents? And who are their parents? And so on and so forth. So when I first wanted to do some genealogy, I realized I don't know much. And I didn't know where I could find more information. There are different sources that you can go to. Some websites that I use are Family Search, Ancestry, there's also MyHeritage, and there's a various different amount of websites that you can look for, but those are some of the top ones that I would recommend. So what I have here is a little family chart that I'm working on outside of these websites, and you can't see much of the green ones, but this would be to represent my father's line, and it has my grandfather's name on one side, then my grandma's name on the other side, and it just goes on and on from that side. And you can see that the farther up I go on some of these, there's no names, and the reason for that is because I haven't found anybody yet. And it gets harder to find people the farther back you go. So that's like 1800s. I don't know people of the 1800s. And to be honest, you probably don't know many people of the 1800s. So it's really important while you have grandparents to live to try to work on family history, because they might still have memories of the names of their grandparents, or simply know the names of their parents. And that's going to be really helpful, really useful for researching. So things like names, places of birth, places of death, different events that happen, all that is really important. And in this little chart that I showed you, you're able to see how in the middle, for example, it's like my father, grandparents, but then from grandparents it goes to great grandparents, and then their parents, and on and on. And so it expands. It's just like a little fan. I'm a big fan. It expands. And what's really important to do, at least on this paper one, you can't have any details. You just want to have their names, but then also put the dates, date of birth, date of death. If you want to, even put where they were born, because that's also really neat to find that out. But if you were able to get yourself into one of those websites that I mentioned, or another one, putting the little details like a family story, pictures, different events that happen, it's really neat. It's really nice. And if you know that your grandparent had siblings, writing down the names of those siblings. Maybe you don't have much information, but simply having as much information later on the road. For example, when you take a DNA test, those fun DNA tests, you can see that somebody, a third cousin you didn't know about, is related to you through one of those siblings of your grandfather. So doing stuff like that is really neat, and it's something that as soon as I started doing it and started really getting involved into it, I realized, wow, this is so much fun, and it's just so cool to be able to find and learn about your different ancestors. And then you also read some of the stories that some of your common cousins and whatnot, relatives share, and you read those stories and you're like, oh, so that's why I do that. Oh, that's kind of neat. I never knew that about myself. So if you guys are ever interested in doing some family history and want some more resources, please look at the links that I shared on the bottom in the description of this video. As well, if you have any questions, you're more than free to ask me, and I'm more than happy to share. But yeah, I'm excited and hope that you guys can take your journey even farther up in your family history. Have a great Sunday.